This is Smithy.tv.
Welcome to 5 Questions with Jeremy. I'm Jeremy Lalonde, and I'm here with the dapper Paul Amos. Do you get called dapper a lot?
No, not often, no.
Am I your first?
You might be. Limey sometimes.
Limey?
No.
What's the, like, when I think of Limey, I think of the Soderbergh movie with Terrence Stamp.
It's awesome, that is, by the way.
Yeah. What, so, if someone calls you a Limey, what's that mean?
A limey is you're a Brit because the Brits all came over on boats.
But is it a disparaging term, though?
It is. Well, I don't know whether it's a disparaging term. I believe to ward off scabies, the people used to suck limes on the boats. So they used to hand out limes to the people coming over on the boat. So all those incoming were sucking limes, so they're called limeys.
I didn't know that.
That's where it comes from.
Do you know where the word shit comes from?
No.
So many of this. I mean, there's so many really interesting terms that come from, like, nautical and like the boating industry.
Yeah, because that's the only way. It was the only way to get around for a long time.
Yeah.
And they were really long trips.
Yeah, well, that's just it. And so shit comes from when they used to ship manure in giant crates. They would write on it "ship high in transit," because if manure got wet, it would be spoiled. It would be ruined. And so eventually people just would use the acronym
shit.
That's how the word shit came out.
That's fascinating.
Look at me, huh? Look at the stuff you learn.
We should also say Happy Blow Up Shit Day today, shouldn't we?
Happy Blow Up Shit Day? Why? Oh, because of
it's July 4th, man. Happy Blow Up Shit Day.
This is gonna be like in August or something.
Oh
no one will ever. That's
anyway.
Okay.
There you go.
But now you know
how long it takes to get out.
Yeah, it's like a shipping.
How slow these people move.
Wow, poor Dan. This is his first day.
Is it Dan's first day? Let's give him a really hard time. I bet you spelled my name wrong.
Wow.
Do you know how to pronounce it?
I hope so.
Give it a go. What's the second name?
Roger.
And third surname.
Amos.
Amos. Yeah, that was close. Amos.
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 How are you supposed? I probably.
I don't know why people say a moose. It sounds like to me, but
I say Amos.
Amos. Yeah, that's
Amos
more of a sort
and
of Southern American kind of.
Yeah.
Amos.
How's it supposed to be pronounced?
Amos. It's
Amos,
isn't it? It's open vowel, so you should really get around it. But
you'd have to have two.
North Americans wouldn't know about that.
For some reason, I almost think you need a second S for the moss, and I think only because of the word moss.
Amos.
I feel like such a dick. I've known you and now I don't know. Oh, look at me.
That's all right.
Amos.
As long as you don't call me a moose.
A moose.
I just thought, Canadians were partial to mooses.
Yeah, you need the E on the end for the moose, right?
Moose.
Oh, no, but is there a U in moose? No, there's 2 O's. Moose. Got it.
Right. Anyway, you did well.
He was putting you to task.
No drinking. Distracting me.
Well, it's 3 o'clock in the hour, I'm a little into it now.
Yeah, he's sauce to the tits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Paul's gonna jump in. So how I do my little podcast?
Oh yeah.
Is I make you draw questions from this.
I'm gonna have a Halls mint. Is that alright? Because I've had a summer cold, and the last time I was in here, I was ill.
My
as well.
cert sponsor is gonna be furious with you. But go right ahead.
Halls. That's the one. The black.
The black ones?
Yeah.
What is not the wintergreen? They're the.
No,
it's the
everything. Every chewing gum is all wintergreen here. What's with that?
My son is like repulsed by the smell of like mint and ice cream or flavor. If he's woken up in the middle of the night and I brush my teeth close enough to that time and I crawl in the bed, he's like he tells me I stink. But he says the meanest things he could possibly say to me. I'm like, I brushed my teeth. You have no idea what it would smell like if I didn't. Come reeking of.
Yeah, your son says lots of interesting things.
He certainly does.
Yeah, well, he is your son.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right, so you gotta draw a question. You gotta give them to me though, because I might have to modify.
I have to take.
You have to pull out. You have to reach in. There's questions in there.
Ooh.
And they're random.
I'll go with that one.
And if you don't really want to answer something,
one at a time.
You can. Yeah, one at a time.
Oh, I get to
5 questions at once.
I feel like I'm at a raffle 5 times.
If you weren't acting, what would you do?
probably play sports.
What sport?
Well, I used to play rugby a lot until I was about 18.
You're scrappy. You could.
19. And then when I got to drama school, you kind of weren't allowed to play those kind of sports just because of, I guess, through the training that you were doing, they were trying to develop completely different muscles to the ones that you would be using if you were playing rugby a lot. So
What kind of muscles were you developing at theatre school?
You're trying to elongate a lot of your muscles. A lot of the exercises are yoga based. And then you do Alexander technique. And it's all about like centering your body. And so,
Is that so you have like proper stance when you're on stage?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a 7 points of weight and breathing and all this sort of stuff. And a lot of the exercises, you're doing a lot of dance, classical dance, you're doing jazz, all this kind of stuff. So you have to be very, very flexible. Where when you play rugby, you're kind of hitting the turf a lot, and you're just condensing your muscle structure. So it was really painful for me the first year of drama school. It was my muscles were the complete polar opposite of what they wanted. So I was kind of crying like a little girl at some points, and they really pushed you hard as well. Like Annie Durham, she was like this buxom British lady, with a beautiful pair of breasts. Nothing wrong with that. That's what she was really known for, as well as being an awesome teacher. And she was also known for showing us, because we would have to do this thing where, it was kind of the whole idea of drama school in some cases is trying to take you right back to when you were being a baby, if you were at a good drama school. And
the bad ones just started preschool.
The bad ones. So that they would really, you had to understand how your body had developed, from being a baby essentially on all fours. And Annie Durham would sometimes display a baby on all fours, which was...
Did she bring a baby in?
No, she would be the baby,
she'd be the baby
on all fours.
That's different. With breath.
Yeah. Which,
we're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. So, 21-year-olds might have giggled or got a little bit aroused by that one. Yeah. And that's what it was. And, you were trying to center your body, try and find out where... all your locks were in your body, because they're usually attached to emotional things. So some people develop, almost slight differences in their step and the way they walk, the way they sit, the way they hold themselves, sometimes attached to something that happened emotionally when you were younger, or something that continues emotionally in your life when you hold it somewhere. So you can understand how people's bodies are structured. So when you're developing character or things like that, you can go down that route.
I mean, for dance and that kind of stuff, but I guess the school you went to was just more performance, like all over performance, right? You mentioned the jazz and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was, but you crossed a lot of disciplines because it was kind of it depends on the school and what their philosophy is, but certainly with ours it was very movement based. So we would be exposed to a lot of movement performance, as well as classical. Film, like we went right across the board in lots of ways, but particularly with what was on vogue in London at that point in time. So
do you find that gives it a hard transition to go between like theater and film in terms of like styles of acting, or do you find them pretty interchangeable? Just like the idea of like when you're doing a more like traditional stage performance, like you're performing just not bigger, but you're using your body more, I guess.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're really different disciplines in some senses. I mean, character structure is always kind of essentially the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's the technique that you put it through. It's almost like the filter that you put it through. It's almost like having a different lens, or if you're on a camera, it's the close-up and the wide and the medium.
Yeah. Do you find that if like you spend...
It's still a camera though. You're still kind of still doing the same thing. It's just
for theater versus
it's like you're changing it a little. Some actors can't do the twos, and it does help to be trained, I think, in theatre first and then go to film, because I think it's much more difficult to go the other way around if you've never done any theatre before and then you do it it's really difficult.
To go bigger.
Oh yeah,
bigger.
if you hit your 30s and you've never really done theatre, and then all of a sudden you got put on the stage, it's like, I don't know what that would be like. I mean, it's hard enough for some of the actors, I guess, even in theatre here, because even the style of theatre and the type of stage that you're on is limited. So like in the UK, you're performing in a round, you're performing in thrust, like all kinds of different stages and venues and, all shapes and sizes, and you have to get used to playing them all and the intricacies of playing different space. But here it's all pretty much the same.
Do you find that that's just as much as part of the rehearsal process? Or not just as much, but...
Oh, the rehearsal room doesn't give you anything compared to like when you're going to be in the theatre. Because that's always the tricky thing anyway. When you sometimes you have an amazing play in the rehearsal space, and then you move it into the theatre, and nobody can bring the same life to it.
Or the stage round is like 5 times larger.
It's larger. People realize their performance has to change because they can't hear you over there, and can't be seen there, and then people start forcing, and then nothing's quite as real as it was. I mean, the rehearsal room is generally it's intimate, so.
And then it becomes a little bit more mechanical, I guess, as you move towards.
Yeah, it becomes about technique.
Yeah.
Like anything, will become about technique.
Can't just wing it.
Can't just wing it. You usually have to have things to fall back on. Like, the winging it will only get you so far. Anyway, if you wanted a career in it, for sure. I mean, you could probably get away with a one-off. I mean, I'm sure there are film, TV actors that just do one play that's so, like...
I've seen a couple that have tried to get away with it.
Tailored to them.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
That, they can get away with it. But, I mean, when you're doing different styles or genres of theatre, then it's a different demand on you and what you do as well.
Yeah, but then they're almost not I don't want to say the word stunt, but they're like when you have a theatre or film or television actor that doesn't do a lot of theatre and does one, and depending on the level they're at, it can be a bit more of a stunt as well, right?
Yeah, and we're actually doing that here at the moment, so we're putting a company together that is mainly only TV and film people doing theatre.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I can. I mean, we're just in early stages, but Zoe's part of that. Greg Brick is part of that. Chris is part of that. There's a whole lot of other people that want to be a part of it. So we're just putting that together just because in this town it doesn't really happen. A lot of TV and film people don't do theatre. So.
And do you find that that's an interest thing or just more a schedule thing?
I think it's schedule. I also think it's the structure of the theatre season with schedule, the structure of the companies. I think the relationships between actors and companies in the town, they're very segmented, each profession. It's the same profession, but it almost seems like completely different ones.
Yeah, it's different.
So that segregation that sort of happens within the business. I mean, some people cross the border, but not many. And I think to the detriment of both styles and both businesses. I think they would be better if everybody crossed over a lot more, like happens in New York, like happens in London.
On Broadway all the time, you've got named town.
Wherever, Chicago, all these towns. You will generally, if somebody has a project out, you will, and it's on TV, you should be able to find them on stage. That's certainly the case in London. Mm-hmm. Because you've done your work, you've filmed something, and then you generally have a bit of a break after it. And you should be filling that break up with allowing the people who are watching you on television to come and see you on stage, and for you to be exercising a completely different muscle.
I like that.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
I just play video games.
Just play video games?
No, I don't. I don't really at all. I wish I shouldn't say I
just
wish
get
I played
drunk.
more. Yeah? That's how you feel your highlights?
Yeah. I wait until they open at 11 a.m. Not, I'm waiting at the door.
You're with the hobos waiting for...
I got 12 hours of drinking to get in. Come on. Let me and my hobo buddies in.
Well, they don't come in because they can't pay for it. It's different. What's the worst thing that's happened to you on set? You don't have to answer it.
Worst?
Or like something...
Most frightening thing actually happened to me the other day while I was doing season 4. but I'm not allowed to talk about that.
That's useless. Can you speak in generalities about it, or like the type of thing? Like, you don't want to give a plot.
I guess
point,
what it was is that there was something I was supposed to wear, and costume wise, and I was fine with that. It's a cool costume. It's far out there. But I was asked to do something in that costume that was so difficult to do, and it was,
the beans and mash came out.
Well,
beans and mash doesn't work at all.
No.
Never mind.
It was just very, very difficult because I was asked to do something and it was completely frightening. And I was at the rehearsal, and you usually look out at what the 150 people, when all your actors, the extras, the crew, then anyone, the execs and all that stuff, and I'm up there, essentially very high up, looking down at all these people, absolutely shitting myself at what I was asked to do, which I can't talk about.
That's okay.
But it gets people excited.
What episode will it be, just so people can look at it?
It's episode 1.
There you go. So premiere.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, it was, and it was the first time, because I'm usually pretty confident, when it comes to rehearsal and all that stuff. It's about getting the work done.
Yep.
So you just like, okay, what are we gonna do? That was the first time I was absolutely cacking my pants.
So I mean, you can't talk about specifics, but what do you do in a situation like that? Like when you're uncomfortable?
Not a lot you can do. I mean, it's different now. Some people would have an issue with it.
Right.
Like, actors are all different.
Yep.
Some actors would, because I mean, what happened was it was a great idea that came out late in the day, and it was a superb idea. It was Jay Firestone's idea, and it was an amazing idea. It was late in the day,
and it's the kind of thing that required prep.
And I was like, okay, it's such an amazing idea. I will do it, because some actors then would shy away from that. I always think, you may as well go through with it. I mean, and you just kind of got to get it done and try and find a way to make it work. And it was amazing. They had people there to help me really quick and do it, but you just got to make it work. That's what I feel. I mean, then other people might make a stink, and I'm not doing it until I have my rehearsal, and then it gets cut, and then the good idea vanishes and it doesn't become as full as it could be.
Well, that's why you're great. Because you don't scare away.
Well, you shouldn't. I mean, you're an actor, so you got into the business because you wanted to take risks and you wanted to be in these situations. And how many actors would love to be high up in the air looking down at 150 people on set, really hoping that you do something really cool. That's why we're in the game, I think.
Well, I think it's this isn't my quote, obviously. I can't remember who said it, but the idea that it's like, unless you're scared of what you're doing, you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't do something unless it scares you a little bit, right? Whether you're an actor or whether you're a writer or a director, whatever it is, whatever project you're working on should terrify you to some extent. Otherwise, you're probably phoning it in to some degree.
Yeah, well, actors get scared when there's a possibility of injury or something.
That's different. That's different. But I mean,
it was kind of in that zone, so that's why
the rugby training did nothing.
But yeah, but then I played rugby and I was like, oh, you know what? I've been in worse situations than this on a Saturday night, to be honest.
This is nothing.
I mean, really.
If you'd asked Chris Holden-Ray to do it, no.
I know Chris.
He's got the fencing background.
Yeah, Chris, he was he did triathlons, didn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with Chris when it comes
pentathlete.
If it came to a physical.
Pentathlete. He did the horse riding, the fencing, the running.
Yeah, I would mess with Chris when it comes to a physical test. He would slaughter me.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No.
All right. Next.
Okay, number 3.
What's your favorite comfort food on set?
My favorite comfort food on set.
Or favorite thing you like?
I love getting in the morning, and I love asking for something cheesy and meaty.
Yeah, like a meat cheese omelet kind of thing.
Yeah, and sometimes it really hits a mark. Sometimes like a burrito wrap, And then I'll go something eggy, cheesy, meaty. Eggy, cheesy, meaty, just cheesy, cheesy, meaty, or meaty, eggy. That's how it kind of works in the morning, and I like that.
Is that to soak up?
And then I don't know. I just like the thing is when you go on set. I eat very healthy. I love my food. Like I care a lot about what I eat, and or who my farmers are. Like I buy directly from everybody. But when I'm on set, I just
You throw it away a little bit.
Man, yeah, 'cause it's all comfort food at the end of the day. I mean, they don't do anything different really. But those morning cheesy, meaty, eggy things.
Yeah.
Oh man, a little wrap with like some scrambled egg, some melted cheese, some bacon or ham.
Do you bring in some ghost pepper to like?
Salsa, sriracha they always have there. So bang a little bit of sriracha on it as well, just to spice things up.
No ghost pepper.
Well, I will when they grow.
Grow again.
But I've got my plants.
Paul played a nasty trick on me. I don't know if it was just coincidence. Paul brought, when we were on set for Sex After Kids, Paul brought in ghost peppers, right?
Uh-huh.
And you wanted me to just put one to my tongue just for a photo for a giggle, but there's a slit in it, so like the innards were exposed. And I don't know if that was just an accident or if you'd done that to fuck with me. But did you to fuck with me? You can admit it.
Probably not. I mean, I was fucking with everyone.
You'd remember if you did, I think.
With those ghost peppers.
But I just remember it was just like the heat of. It was more like it went numb. Like it just went.
Oh, it's so hot. Like I mean, you didn't really eat it. Either.
It just touched my tongue.
So you need to eat one and then experience
like
it.
You eat a whole one?
No, you like just cut off a slice.
Yeah, you gotta like.
Just cut off a slice. I've got them growing. I've got 3 plants actually.
Which is all you would need, I'm assuming, right?
Well, I only had 1 plant last year and I got like 20 chilies off it, so...
Can you bottle, like, can you turn them into, like, what do you do?
Yeah, I was turning them into hot sauces.
Okay, great. And then they last throughout the year.
And then they last for a few months, yeah.
That'd be the way to do it.
Depending, yeah. I like the fresher ones, so they didn't last as long, but they were better. But this year I'll have about 60. I'll probably dry a few and hot bottle a few and then give a few out at parties and whatnot. Oh man, it's so much fun seeing somebody running around with one of those things in a party. I'm a sadist at heart, I'm sure, but I can crease up laughing watching that shit all day long. All day long.
Your own
personal
version of Jackass?
Yeah, watching somebody in pain.
You
but
just
then watching the euphoria 15 minutes later of their endorphins just like releasing in such like a almost tidal wave type flood.
You should just go to dinner parties and bring like a little grater and just like put it over the group salad and not let anyone know and just mix it in. Just let it do its course.
I'll become a ghost pepper dealer.
It's
essentially what it is. It's like a drug afterwards.
Instead of like roofing people, you just you slip a little ghost pepper into the mix.
Yeah.
What's the worst reaction you've ever had from somebody who had?
Yeah, well, we did it at the cottage last year. The best, I could almost talk about the best reaction. There was 3 of us, and I carved off big slices of it. And I'd already done it, but the 2 friends hadn't, and it was in the night. And we were at the camp, we just had dinner, we had a big feast, and there was a fire. And then my friend's father was there as well, Mr. Hakim, who's actually Fadi's father, who is the exec producer of Captain Canuck. And Fadi was there, he did it too. And his father decided that he was going to do it with us. Like I'd convinced him to do it. So his father did it.
So how do you do? You just like put it in your tongue?
I'd like cut off a nice chunk of it for everyone. I got everyone to eat it.
Just chew on it.
Chew on it and swallow it. Well, of course, like because I was doing a slightly bigger chunk than usual, and my mate and Fadi, we were like running around, like lunatics, and going, and it really is like ridiculously hot. And even I was every time it was hot for me as well.
They're the tiniest little things. They look so cute.
Oh, I mean,
they're adorable.
But the thing is, they taste really nice too. So as you're running around with this thing where you go, but it tastes so good. So you're running around.
That was the first time I've heard your North American accent.
It tastes good, man. But anyway, I turn around and I look, and Mr. Hakim is by the fire. This is a 70-year-old guy. He's like looking down into the fire. He's got a cigar in his mouth. He is not moving an inch. He's smoking his cigar and he just has like one tear falling down his face. And he's like, I don't know about these young people.
He's like pussies.
Pussies. Smoking his cigar.
With one tear. That's
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. And we were all like in awe of the guy. Like, didn't move an inch, just staring at the fire with his cigar.
Internalizing it all.
Yeah.
That guy had seen some shit in his life,
Yeah.
right?
I've done heat before.
This is nothing. He
Yeah.
grabbed a whole one and just like chomped it.
I'm from Beirut, man.
This is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad is small town, never any heat. We were at an Indian restaurant in Little India, and he grabbed went to the bar and had a bunch of the salad, but then threw on a bunch of the little, I don't know what they are, the really thin green peppers.
Oh yeah.
And just grabbed a handful. I thought they were little, and just chomped, and same thing, sadist. I'm watching him killing myself because he's in such pain, and my son was about 3 at the time, and just rolling on the floor laughing. It was the funniest thing in the world to watch his papa just lose his mind to this heat, drinking everything he can. I'm like, get him a mango lassi. It's just pouring it down.
It's a scene from Dumb and Dumber, isn't it? I remember I was in absolute stitches of that one when they put on the hamburger. And the cop or whatever, he eats it and he dies of the heart attack, and they're laughing at him on the floor because the heat is terrible for him, and then they realize he's dead.
I like it.
I think ever since I'm just a sadist, really.
I'm okay with that.
Number 4.
Number 4.
What will number 4 bring?
Oh, you know what? This is a repeat. It's phrased differently. This is the job question again. I didn't realize I had 2 of them in there. I'll give it a one.
Yeah, this is like Trivial Pursuit, yeah.
A little bit, right? But for your soul. Why do you want to be an actor? What telling stories, whatever it is, what?
Why do I want to be an actor? I guess the reason why I wanted to be an actor is that my grandfather was a compere. Which in the 70s...
Compere?
A compere, which would be like an MC.
Okay.
Compere was the term for it back home. It used to be in social clubs. So he was in the army. He was a singer. He was in the mines and in the army. And
They send them to the mines? Entertain people in mines?
not in the mines, but what would happen is they'd all go there and back on buses and whatnot. Yeah.
Right.
So it was a very community in Wales where mining was the main industry. For a few hundred 200-300 years. So this is at the tail end of that, what would have been the 40s 50s 60s.
So he did the equivalent of a USO tour, kind of would go around to different areas. And
The bus would just pick up everyone in that village, because whole villages would go to work in these places, or in any of the sort of gas industry or slating industry or mining, any of that kind of stuff. My grandfather used to do that a lot, and then he used to sing in social clubs, which were really popular at that time, like British Legions, all that sort of stuff, where everybody used to go. There used to be venues that were packed with 200-300 people on a Saturday, Sunday night, and we'll be getting drunk, and there'd be a bunch of different entertainers.
And what year would that be? That'd be
so it's primarily would have been in the 70s and into the 80s, and then it's kind of started to die off then in the 90s. I guess now those people are going to watch darts, any one of those dreadful kind of entertainment shows, talent shows.
Yeah.
They've those sort of things have sort of pulled in a lot of those audiences, and,
right?
And
now you don't have to leave the house to see.
No, you don't, or you all go to some crappy theatre, and you all watch it, and people think that's what it is. But that never used to be the case. It used to be that everyone used to go out as a family, at least the adults. And you'd be there with people you knew, and everybody knew everyone, so it was a huge social thing. Everyone would be telling stories to each other. Well, I kind of grew up with my grandparents, and my parents, they lived very close to each other, so they used to smuggle me into these clubs when I was 5. I remember my 2 uncles putting me in a canary yellow ski jacket, like, and I was walking underneath it as they were getting me into this one place, and my grandfather was comparing that, and I'd be like in the corner, you know, next to the stage, hoping that nobody kind of saw me, although you know, people did. And then I just got used to people telling stories and singing and telling kind of jokes, and then I was in a Welsh school, so people kind of did the same thing then. It was very sort of performance based, a lot of poetry, a lot of unaccompanied singing, a lot of choral singing. Rugby was then kind of attached into that culture as well, and I played a lot of that. So I was really sort of there or thereabouts. And I don't know, I guess acting was the thing that I gravitated to more than singing.
Do you sing?
Yeah, I sing, but I've never really done anything with it, and that's really a tool that you have to kind of keep up, you know.
See, you guys need to do a musical episode on Lost Girl.
Oh yeah, I'm dying to do a musical episode on Lost Girl. I'm sure it's coming.
A lot of sci-fi shows do that. They have like Buffy did one.
I know, it's weird.
It seems to be, it's a trope, right? And I mean, the beauty of your show is you could easily have a curse come along that everyone suddenly...
Yeah.
It would be easy enough to fit into the mythology.
I know Casey Collins really wants a Glee episode, but that's about as far as we've got.
Yeah? There you go. Go for it. Fight for it.
Yeah. I'm happy.
It's one of the... I mean, Todd and the Book of Pure Evil did one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if we get to like 5 or 6.
5 or 6? You just start throwing shit at it.
And then like, alright, what can we do now?
Let's make everyone sing.
Yeah, let's make everyone sing. Yeah.
Break dance episode?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Everyone gets infected with something that makes them do something.
They can only talk if they're singing.
Yeah.
Or they don't talk at all. And then you just have a character that doesn't... Like,
I wish usual infections were like that. You know, you did something fun instead of just feeling like shit for a week.
See, that's what people that invent viruses, that's what we need to work on.
Yeah, doing fun things. Yeah, those viruses need to sort their shit out.
Yeah, they need to like get up to the now and do something, you know. That,
come on, where's the Glee virus?
Then people would spread them like wildflower. If you know, if VD was like
if I cough
was
on
fun.
you?
Yeah, just cough on me a little. Yeah, exactly.
I'll cough on you in tune. In what style? Like 80s rock? I can cough on you in an 80s rock way.
So I've got jazz right now, but I could, if you come back in a week, it might morph into something else. Mm-hmm. Last question. So one more. Don't do that one.
Not another repeat.
It's not as good. No, it's not a repeat. It's just, it's not as good for you. I know I can have a better question for you.
Okay.
For your last question. Again, it's with direct.
This isn't working.
Should I pick one for you? No.
Every question should be amazing.
Well, true. Fair enough. Okay. What's your favorite scene you've ever done?
That's a tough one.
Or maybe
I think that I think the funnest thing I've done, and the thing that I enjoyed doing most, was probably the first scene that we did for Lost Girl. It was working with John, and it was the opening scene where, you know, the hand in the carburetor. Because I mean, at that point,
the record player and
everything was new, so everyone was kind of making shit up, and it was like that kind of thing of discovery and creativity, and it was the first time to actually exercise this character and to get him out there. So it was so much fun to explore that, and the whole stuff with the hands was being, you know, the whole mesmering stuff was happening, and you know, we were like putting a vampire's hand on a carburetor, so there was like blood spilling everywhere, and you know, they were playing the music. Yeah. So it was just so much fun, and it was a pilot, and everyone was excited, and I love my get up, and I'd never got to, you know, play a character like that before. So, you know, it was just like one of those times where you were like in like a really good, like a good space, enjoyable, creative space in terms of being on set. Yeah, and you know, as a result, the whole thing has benefited from that set, and I'm sure everybody kind of felt it as we were kind of doing that pilot.
Which just ended up being what, episode 8 in the first season?
Yeah. Which wasn't so good for me, but
no, because you were introducing that, so they had to hold you off.
Yeah, so I kind of missed the season in lots of ways, and then you kind of it's hard when you're on 8 because then all of a sudden people come up with all kinds of other crazy ideas between 1 and 8, and you got to kind of fit into this new world.
Well, and then the danger is you can get pushed out because of that.
Oh yeah, because
right?
it all changes. Yeah, and it did change a bit. The style of the show definitely changed from 108. So, and then as a result, it seemed like we were all having to. Had a kind of catch up of 1 to 8, trying to do something different, and then I from 8 onwards was trying to
match that.
Yeah, trying to match the style of the show, because it had changed, it'd been tweaked. So where I was going with it was, having to curtail that, and then as a result, I would even say that the characters has molded, closer to where the show is at over the course of the last 3-4 seasons. And now, he's more of a permanent fixture as the more he fits in.
Mm-hmm. And how do you find that? I mean, this is a tough question to ask.
It's like me and the character at the same time, like trying to mold into a show, fit into it. And
how do you find, like, do you prefer the longevity of that and being? I guess the question is more about like.
Well, you want to explore a character, don't you? Ultimately, you want, if you enjoy doing a character, you want it to live as an actor, and you want to explore the journey. So, I mean, I always felt with that character, it was like a super interesting character within that genre. And if I was going to exist in that genre for a bit, if the show was going to do well, then it would be fun to explore that. And you only get so many opportunities as well with characters, in like particularly, I'd say in TV, where you really get to explore it. I was only talking to Chris about that the other day. That, I mean, how often have you actually been able to flesh out a character this long?
Yeah.
Like, how many opportunities you really get at doing that? How many shows in Canada go past 2 seasons? So, the opportunity to do that, and to do it in a show that was, is a bit of like anything goes at times, means you can jump through a load of different styles. So I didn't want that to end, so then you have to try and go, okay, where can I live in here?
And how do you keep finding?
And then you have to talk to the writers, and and keep things ticking over, and offer suggestions of where you think the character could go, or where he's at, and hopefully they listen to you a little, but they usually have great ideas as well. But if you have a dialogue with them, then they even if they don't take up the initial ideas, that it's there in the back of their mind, and they kind of have an idea of where you want to be if it fits in the show. And then you have to know the show, you have to know the characters, then you have to kind of know the style, and be able to deliver then ultimately. So if they give you something that is more in line with the style of the show, you have to be able to deliver that, and be funny, or like be dramatic and funny and big and small all at the same time, which is kind of what Lost Girl's all about. It's a whole, it's like big and sometimes intimate. Yeah, at times that's what they like to do.
I mean, I think that's why that show tracks so well, is because of the relationships, right? It's like, and any show that, it's the truth of any show that gets into the public psyche and connects with people, is because it's a show about a family.
Yeah.
And whether it's a traditional family where they're actually related, or
like a tribe, a family,
like any kind of tribe, and so with Lost Girl, it's a different kind of family. I mean, there are familiar relations that track in that show, but it's mostly about a group of people
and they all kind of know each other. It's like it's like, not West Side Story, but do you know what I mean? It's like it's that kind of, they all know who each other is. It's just they've got these year-long feuds, and there's rules and regulations and lines you can't cross and groups you have to be with. So, and then you've got somebody that who doesn't believe in any of that. So
so I think it's like shows get picked up and made because they have a unique world, but they stay on because of the characters and the chemistry and the cast, and that kind of stuff is just, it's lightning in a bottle. It's like you can't predict. I mean, and that's the scariest thing for broadcasters and networks, where it's just like you don't know until you get in there, you start doing it, and just by proxy of it is I think it takes a while for things to gel a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes don't get that time to find that gel. A lot of shows don't hit their stride until they're in their second season, and by that point the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Well,
also you don't know. I mean, that lightning in a bottle thing is a lot of it is like whether you fit the fashion of the time. So I don't know. Obviously, fashion is always changing and evolving, but I mean, a lot of actor success is sometimes if you just fit the fashion of the time. Like Lost Girl does. Then the cast of people, you can even look at it like jokingly, like even if like Chris looks a little bit like Chris Martin from Coldplay, like I maybe look a tiny. People say I look a tiny bit like Johnny Depp or things like that.
That's being kind.
It's being really kind. But if you say things, if you see things like that, and you just have like little hints of fitting the fashion of the time, then social media, with that world came about, and we were right at the kind of forefront of that when the show was airing. First of all, this Canadian TV resurgence that's sort of happening right now. So we're very lucky to fit the fashion of the time, and you don't get that a lot. And some actors have a timeless fashion, and they're able to go in and out of whatever is happening, and they're able to evolve. A lot of bands that are good at doing that, and then some people they've only got so much, and that's why they're only good for here, and then they didn't have a career after. They were good when they were young or old or middle of their career. So that's what it's all about. And I guess we're just lucky at this point in time that it does really fit the fashion of the time on lots of different levels. I would say
it's fairly timeless, the show. I think, who knows, it's like, but I think it's the kind of show where you could probably start watching it a decade from now, and outside of production, whatever visuals of the time, story wise you're gonna be fine. It's not gonna feel like it's dated.
Well,
do you think?
Some of the references on the show would be
sure.
So then a lot of the
cut Kenzie out of the show and you're fine.
A lot of the comedy fall down, and then
shut up now.
No, I agree. No, I agree. Obviously, I hope that they must
themes and that kind of stuff.
The themes for sure, and the show is fun, and you can just kind of. That's what they want. All networks is that you could just tune in for the first time and then blast through it, or go back and watch the rest of it. Which is why obviously Netflix is beneficial to everybody, because you're able to go from episode 1, and then if you like it, you just...
Is Lost on Netflix now?
Yeah, it's been on Netflix for about a year and a half.
What the fuck's wrong with me?
Only on in the States, though.
Oh, no. Oh, that's why. See, now it feels so bad.
That's why I think they've developed a big following in the States on Netflix.
That's what happens in Canada. Things have to be popular somewhere else, and then we start paying attention to it.
Yeah, it's free, though, here online. People can...
But I guess that's the truth. You can just go to the Showcase website.
You just go to Showcase and watch it. That service is still unbelievable to me, that a lot of those networks offer their shows up the day after. It's kind of amazing. You can just go in, and especially if you're rigged up to a TV or whatever, you can just turn it on. It's just subject to the same advert over and over again.
I think, because you have to. I think people actually the advertisers get way more out of the people that watch it online than they do with the people that watch it through traditional television, because you're more likely to sit there and go, ugh, it's there, it's only there for 15 seconds.
No, I have to watch it, yeah.
Where normally you're like, oh, commercial time, I'm going to go up, I have 2 minutes. In your mind, I have 2 minutes, I can get up and go do whatever I want for 2 minutes as long as I'm back.
Or you PVR it, yeah, which is what they hate. Well, it's funny, because PVR is obviously the growing way that people like to watch stuff, because everyone's so busy and everyone PVRs and watches it whenever they want. And with Lost Girl, it's on 10 p.m, so it's usually too late for people, which is why the PVR numbers are out of the
but park. They don't. But maybe it's changing now. But I was told even recently that they don't necessarily take those numbers into account.
Well, because
they have to start now.
Well, they do. Of course, they do. The networks do. But I just don't know where the advertising is. I don't know how the advertisers can obviously. obviously get to their audience with PVR because people blast through the
I would think it's got to start being. You just got to integrate more, or find clever ways, smart ways to integrate. And I'm sure like yours, it's tougher because you don't have people walking down the street drinking a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever it is, right?
No.
So some shows it's easier than others.
It's going to happen soon, isn't it? We're all going to be wearing and eating and drinking something.
But that's that's a better way to do it. I would think it's like then you're not forcing people to watch commercials.
Yeah.
And you just got to find a delicate way to do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like.
Just let Kenzie do it all anyway.
Yeah, that was
she's the pop culture, queen anyway. Just let her. All of a sudden, she's drinking a can of Coke, eating a bag of Doritos.
Oh, Vex is like, what's that new album you're listening to, Vex?
Yeah. Or I can advertise condoms and lube and.
There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. You make it work within the character you're playing.
Yeah, when Vex, he's still safe. Vex is still safe.
We want to try to get a condom sponsor for Sex After Kids.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, definitely go that route. Yeah.
Sure, right?
Condom, diaphragms.
That way you don't have. That's how you have sex after kids without worrying about having the second one.
Yeah. Vasectomy doctors.
A diaphragm, Sex After Kids diaphragm. Can you imagine it's like right in the middle?
Yeah, we can actually put the poster in it,
Or someone's face. And
yeah.
You just
And maybe with the condoms we could do that. You get a different character on each condom.
And as you roll them up, like it's the full body.
Exactly. As the penis is erect, you go, oh, it's Chris Holden Reed. Oh, it's Shannon Beckner. Oh, I've always wanted to take Shannon Beckner into my girlfriends. It's like having a threesome.
Quote of the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. That might cost a little bit more than just having a sponsor, having the roll up.
That threesome with a celebrity.
There's the second Indiegogo campaign. You can buy a personalized Chris Holden Reed condom.
Yeah. Oi.
That's fun. All right, so how we end the podcast is you have to do one of two things. You either have to display some kind of talent that you can do.
I have absolutely no talent.
Or you have to arm wrestle me.
Oh, I'll do the arm wrestle because I don't know what this talent thing is. I could have brought things.
You could have brought? What could you have brought? You have like a magic trick?
Yeah, I could have.
What kind of magic trick can you do?
There's a bunch of bar tricks I could have done. Anyway.
Next time.
Yeah, just need a box of matches, Jerry.
Jesus, what kind of fucking bar tricks are you doing with matches?
Oh, man, you gotta spend more time in pubs.
We're gonna start hanging in pubs now. Alright, Jesus Christ, I'm already scared. Like the way you're tensing right now?
I'm not very good at arm wrestles. It's not really where my strength is.
Alright, we're gonna have Dan Kennison.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
You're not trying as hard as you could be. Oh, fuck! Ah! Good for you.
I broke Jeremy Alon's arm.
He did. Jesus. Good for you, though. I called it on you, though. You didn't put forth the full effort.
It's big on me.
Why is that? You just you just went easy on me.
Just testing.
Seeing where I was going to go with
testing, exactly.
Well, thanks for coming on, man.
You're welcome, man.
So this is 5 questions. If you like the show, like us on Facebook, and if you want a question to add to the jar, throw it up on the wall.
Awesome.
Look, that's Paul is going to give me a ride home.
Yeah, exactly. On the back of his bike, he's got a child seat.
Yeah, I don't wear a helmet because I'm kind of hardcore, but
yeah.
Paul's into floral.
Yeah, I love floral.
Do everybody.
That is.